Disney's DuckTales reboot has been packed with references to other Disney afternoon shows, names from other cities, references to the mystical creatures of Gummy Glen, and even a TV cameo from Darkwing Duck. So, naturally, when Scrooge McDuck and his family are hauling a plane load of treasure back to Duckburg, there's only one TALESPIN cameo that could possibly trip them up. This is Sky Pirates in the Sky. Ever since the Disney Channel started teasing the second half of Season 1 of DuckTales, I've been waiting for this episode. Mostly because that preview featured one quick clip of Dewey riding an airplane. And you wouldn't think there'd be a lot in that clip, but it definitely hinted at one major thing. A TALESPIN crossover with Sky Pirates. And where there's Sky Pirates, there's Don Karnage.
It is I, the plundering wonder, Don Karnage. Prepare for boarding.
Scrooge, the kids, and Launchpad are flying the Sun Chaser back from some big adventure, and the plane is loaded with treasure. And while most of them are just sort of sorting through the treasure and trying to get home okay, Dewey just keeps trying to tell a story to his family, and all of them just keep shutting him down. It's actually a little weird. They're kind of out of character and mean to him.
Where did I find my new trademark hat? The place? Parapisco. The time?
Not the time, Dewey.
Dewey's hat is actually really important to this episode, but it doesn't get in the way of the humor. In fact, Launchpad has some of my favorite lines here.
Is this compass a sticker?
Stickers are for kids. Grown-ups call them decals.
This radar is an ant farm?
There are so many fun moments in this episode that it actually makes it kind of weird. Mostly because what drew me into the episode in the first place is actually kind of my least favorite part of the episode. Yeah, that's right. My least favorite part of the episode is probably that dashing pirate himself, Don Karnage.
He's Don Karnage. That's me.
Wait, what?
Don Karnage comes onto the scene when he breaks into the plane to distract Scrooge and his family with this big, bombastic song and dance as his pirate crew steals all of Scrooge's treasure. And that's not my problem with it. The song is fun and catchy and interesting. I think why this doesn't work for me is because there's both too much and not enough Don Karnage. I was trying to think about why this is, and I think it's because this episode of DuckTales is just one episode. But TALESPIN is a whole series. And that sounds like an obvious thing to say, but it makes sense when you think about who Don Karnage is. He's a big, complex character. He's vicious and scary. He's silly and funny. He's goofy. He's a lot of words. And he's also just a lot to take in. And in TALESPIN, that worked really well because you got to explore and learn who Don Karnage was over a series in all these different episodes. You got to see his vicious side in one episode and his silly side in another. And this one episode of DuckTales, as a cameo, they've got to pack all that in to just one story. And that's great. They hit all those major points, but that's a lot of Don Karnage once, maybe too much. That said, every time I rewatch this episode, I find another gag I missed, another little hidden gem in this song or in how Don Karnage speaks or acts. And even though that primary song and dance of the episode didn't really catch on with me, I actually love how it ends. Over the course of the episode, Don Karnage gets kicked off of his ship and Dewey takes over. But when Karnage comes back to take it over, he gets into a duel with Dewey, and then the lights go out, and the entire scene gets bathed in blacks and reds. What follows is actually just a really fun, exciting action and sword fight sequence. Don Karnage is chasing Dewey all over the ship and fighting him, but it's not actually Dewey, it's the other kids dressed up as him or acting like him, making fun of his mannerisms and how he says, Dewey, let's go Dewey it all the time. And it's fun because it has this really neat misdirection in the action, and it's really fun animated with all the really dark lights. But also because it's this cool moment of all the kids who've been kind of ignoring Dewey for the entire episode, sort of acknowledging who he is, that they do listen to him, and they do understand who he is and do care about him. And so, in the middle of that action, it's sort of a fun family building moment too. This episode also has a B story with Louie, but it's not very deep. Louis spends the episode indulging his greedy side and trying to count and catalog the treasure, and it's pretty fun to watch him do that. But while he's doing that, Webby's there trying to teach him about the value of the treasure he finds, and he doesn't really want to learn anything. And throughout the episode, she starts tricking him. She tells him that there's this gem that's worth more than everything else in there, and that if he saves that gem from the pirates, Scrooge will care about him more, or Scrooge will be impressed with him, and maybe give him the gem, so Louis can be greedy about that. And that's fun, but along the way, Louis starts being a kid and playing games. He looks into the gem and starts talking to his reflection. And Webby picks up on this and starts acting like the gem has some mystical power that brings out your dark side. And that's totally not true, but it's pretty fun to watch her manipulate him and catch on to that. And also that it has that sort of little element of kids playing games and improvising off of each other with their imagination. So I like that bit, but mostly I kind of liked how it ended, because while most of this episode doesn't really have that much of a heavy lesson or a core lesson, Louis learns a lesson. And that lesson is mostly just that
everything's about learning!
That's right, Webby. Everything's about learning. That's it for this week's review. Just a quick on-camera review, unscripted, as I catch up for the season finale. If you like this, feel free to like and subscribe and all those things as you always do on the internet. If you didn't, I got other playlists, or there's a whole other internet for you to look at. But either way, thanks for watching as always. Keep watching if you feel like it. And you know what? Take it easy, internet.